minded pettiness and prejudice. Thirdly, to use all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are, at this moment, standing in the middle of your own acre of diamonds, as Russell Conwell used to point out. Fourth, save at least 10% of what you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities if you're willing to pay the price. Now let's just go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve the wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1, you will become what you think about. 2, remember the word imagination. Let your mind soar. 3, courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4, save 10% of what you earn. And action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now I'll try to outline the 30-day test you to make. Now keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test, and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are 2 things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Write down on your card specifically what it is that you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up, and immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. As you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about, and since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. Now we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit, and new habits are not easily formed. Once formed, however, it'll follow you for the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. There will come times when you will feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% is successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think only about what you permit it to think. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work...
Hey, what's up? I hope y'all got a good listen right there to Earl real quick. Let me get some background music on here. Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Mann. As usual, this is DGTATV. We're here for another Healthy Mental Thursday. And this week, we're back again with curing disease. Curing disease. I actually, funny story, I went to Goodwill, picked up a bunch of books. Jump straight into our motivation. Y'all see it right here on the screen. Let's get it popping. See if we can get some fire burner. Fire, put that fire.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another empowering and uplifting episode of Motivational Journey. I'm so honored to have you here because the message I'm about to share with you today could very well be the turning point you need to unlock your full potential and start living the life you've always dreamed of. We all know that mornings are powerful. They set the tone for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and in many ways, the course of our entire lives. But what if I told you that how you speak to yourself in the early hours of the day can change everything? That simple yet profound act of having positive, uplifting thoughts and affirmations at the start of your morning can be the key to achieving your goals, overcoming obstacles, and living your best life. Today, we're going to talk about 9 powerful things you need to tell yourself every single morning. Because these statements are not just words. They are declarations of belief, strength, and determination. Each one of these declarations holds the key to unlocking a new level of growth, success, and inner peace. Let's dive in. 1. Today is a new beginning. When you wake up, remind yourself of this simple yet incredibly powerful truth. Today is a new beginning. No matter what has happened in the past, whether it was a failure, a setback, or even a victory, today offers a fresh start. Every morning is a blank canvas. You have the chance to choose how you want to show up in the world. The mistakes you made yesterday do not define who you are today. Your past is just that, past. It's important to release it, to let go of anything that weighs you down, because today you have the opportunity to rewrite your story.
GoDaddy Aero can get my business online in minutes with AI.
Every new day is an opportunity for growth, healing, and change. So, speak it out loud. Today is a new beginning, and I choose to make today better than yesterday. When you embrace each day as a new chance to start fresh, you invite possibility and excitement into your life. Whether you're facing challenges or celebrating victories, remember this: every new day is a step closer to your dreams. 2. I am capable of amazing things. It's so easy to fall into the trap of self-doubt. Sometimes we doubt our abilities, question our worth, or feel like we're not good enough. But I'm here to tell you that you are capable of amazing things. You have unlimited potential inside of you, and the universe is waiting for you to tap into it. Your dreams are not too big for you. They were meant for you. Don't let negative thoughts or other people's opinions make you believe otherwise. The truth is, you have all the tools you need to succeed. Whether it's resilience, creativity, determination, or heart. You've already proven that you can face obstacles and rise above them. You've done it before, and you will do it again. Today, remind yourself of your strength, your skills, and your incredible potential. I am capable of amazing things, and I am ready to embrace them. 3. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions. Life can throw a lot of things our way. People might challenge us, situations might frustrate us, and unexpected events may try to pull us out of our center. But here's the truth. You are in control of your thoughts and emotions. No one else has the power to dictate how you feel unless you give them that power. And let me tell you, you are stronger than any external circumstance. Your thoughts are powerful. They can either lift you up or drag you down. Every morning, make the conscious decision to take control of your thoughts. Choose positivity, choose gratitude, and choose peace. You have the power to train your mind to focus on the good, even in the midst of challenges. The next time life tries to throw you off balance, remember that you have the choice to respond with calm, confidence, and clarity. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions, and I choose peace, positivity, and strength today. 4. I am deserving of success and happiness. So many of us struggle with feelings of unworthiness, especially when it comes to success and happiness. We've been taught to believe that we need to work endlessly, sacrifice everything, or earn our right to be happy and successful. But the truth is, you are deserving of success and happiness simply because you exist. Your worth is not dependent on what you accomplish or how others see you. You are inherently valuable, and your happiness is your birthright. Every day, remind yourself that you are worthy of every blessing that comes your way. You are deserving of love, peace, joy, and success. You do not need to apologize for wanting these things. When you step into your worth, the universe will respond. So tell yourself, I am deserving of success and happiness, and I open myself to receive them with gratitude. 5. I will take action today. Success is not a passive process. Action is the catalyst that turns dreams into reality. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of waiting for the perfect moment or for everything to align before you take action. But here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. The right time is today. You don't need to have everything figured out to take that first step. All you need is the courage to act. Every small step you take moves you closer to your goals, and each action you take creates momentum. Remember, progress is progress, no matter how small. So, when you wake up each morning, commit to taking action. Whether it's making one phone call, writing one paragraph, or taking one step toward your goal. I will take action today, and I trust that every step will bring me closer to my dreams. 6. I choose gratitude over complaints. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal. When you choose gratitude, you shift your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. Gratitude opens the door to abundance and helps you attract even more good things into your life. Every morning, take a moment to reflect on all the things you are grateful for. Your health, your family, your opportunities, your journey. When you choose gratitude, you refuse to let negativity, complaints, or dissatisfaction control your day. You acknowledge that life isn't always perfect, but there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude changes your perspective and empowers you to stay positive, no matter the challenges. Say it every day. I choose gratitude over complaints, and I will focus on the blessings in my life, no matter what. 7. I am not afraid to fail. One of the biggest obstacles standing in the way of your dreams is the fear of failure. But what if you saw failure not as something to fear, but as something to embrace? Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Every great success story is filled with failures, setbacks, and lessons learned along the way. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their willingness to keep going in the face of failure. When you stop fearing failure, you give yourself permission to take risks, make mistakes, and grow. You understand that failure is simply a stepping stone on the path to greatness. So, every morning, remind yourself that failure is not something to avoid, it's something to learn from. I am not afraid to fail because I know that failure is simply a part of the journey to success. 8. I am growing every day. Growth is a lifelong process. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't see immediate results or when progress feels slow. But trust me, you are growing every day, even if it's not always visible to the eye. Each decision you make, each challenge you face, and each lesson you learn is contributing to your growth. Remember, growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process. The key is consistency. The small, everyday choices add up to big transformations over time. Every morning, affirm that you are growing. Celebrate the progress you've made, even if it's just a little bit at a time. I am growing every day, and I trust that every step I take brings me closer to becoming the best version of myself.
Step into
come
Wix
on.
Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises. Kick off projects in a
9. I am enough, just as I am. In a world that constantly pushes us to be more, do more, and have more, it's easy to forget one of the most important truths. You are enough, just as you are. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to change who you are to be accepted or loved. You are inherently worthy, and there is nothing wrong with who you are at your core. Remember, you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else. Your unique qualities, your strengths, your quirks, and your journey are what make you beautiful and special. You don't need to live up to anyone else's standards. Be proud of who you are, where you've come from, and how far you've come.
Yes, sir.
Every day, remind yourself, I am enough, just as I am. I don't need to change for anyone or anything. I am worthy of love, success, and happiness. And there you have it, my friends. These 9 powerful affirmations to tell yourself every morning that will set the tone for an incredible day, an amazing week, and ultimately, a fulfilling life. Remember, it's not about waiting for things to change. It's about taking control and shaping your own destiny. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me on this journey.
All right. Now, I appreciated that. I think I can use some of that affirmations when I start my day, at least the ones that I did repeat. Only because I can't remember every single last one he said. But now, let's jump into our topic. I got a reference point I want to start from, though. I ain't just gonna type it in today. So last week when we was doing the first part of this, I ran into my man who was talking about he had encephalitis, it's a shiftitis, and I went back and I was watching the episode, and it was a real good talk. Like what he was talking about was really good, and that was just how we don't talk about disease enough.
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. Recently, I went to the
So this was a good video. Now, I'm not gonna play this video again. I'm gonna just look and see if he got any more videos that were kind of along those same lines. Let me see. I can search, okay. I know he got at least one. I spelled disease wrong. There you go. All right. Here you go. So he got a couple of them. Wow. Well, let's start here since it's healthy mental.
All in. Fold. Call.
All right, don't get too rowdy tonight, okay? Enjoy your boys' night.
Don't worry. We'll be on our best behavior, right?
Yeah. Drive safe, babe.
Is she gone?
She's gone!
Sorry, I forgot my...
Sometimes your wife comes home early
Don't you guys just love?
and finds out that boys' night is actually crochet night.
Sports?
The Woobles. Crochet is for everyone.
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. So
I'm
3.5
sorry we
years.
had to watch that, yo. That was actually a good commercial. All right, let's get serious.
Good morning, Hick. It's Tuesday. So 3.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a disease called labyrinthitis, wherein part of my inner ear became inflamed due to a viral infection. All at once, I went from feeling like I had a bit of a head cold to being completely incapacitated by vertigo. I fell over, began vomiting, and was rushed to the hospital. And in the years since, I've had a lot of treatment for labyrinthitis, and I've started to wonder, is this disease mental or physical? Let me begin by noting just how profoundly we stigmatize mental illness. When I was in the hospital, there was initially some thought that my vertigo might be psychosomatic, that the dizziness could be caused by my chronic anxiety. And I have to confess, once they found an ostensibly physiological cause for the vertigo, I was a little relieved because suddenly everyone was acting as if, and I started feeling as if, my illness was really real. But of course, mental illness is also really real and often has a physiological cause, like the brains of many people who have OCD, as I do, look different in fMRI scans than the brains of other people. We just don't really understand those differences very well yet. And illnesses that are poorly understood or lack effective treatments tend to be heavily stigmatized. See also endometriosis and irritable bowel syndrome and many pain disorders and leprosy. Rarely do I need a footnote in a video, but I do need one here.
Stigmatization of illness is very complex and involves many factors. Illness that disproportionately affect poor or marginalized people tend to be highly stigmatized, as do diseases that are oftenly wrong, attributed to ethical choices. Cholera, e.g., was long seen as a disease caused by loose morals. There are many other factors too. More info in the comments about this. That's what
The category of mental illness is just that, a category. It has uses and it has limitations, and remembering that categories are often useful but almost always limited seems to me one of the big challenges of life right now. Like the extremely silly discourse around whether a hot dog is a sandwich is of course very silly, but underneath it lies
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
something important, which is that we want categories to be strict and inviolable when in fact they are messy and constructed. But right, so I got labyrinthitis, which is not a psychological illness, or at least I'm told it's not. I went home from the hospital with 2 medications, one a central nervous depressant called meclizine, and the other an anti-anxiety medication called diazepam that also lessens vertigo. Both these medications were psychotropic in the sense that they affected the way I experience consciousness, and both of them are sometimes prescribed as psychiatric medications, but in my case, they weren't psychiatric medications because, in my case, my illness was not considered psychiatric. Both these medications reduced my symptoms while I recovered, but I eventually found that even after I was mostly better and the virus was gone, I still had some sort of long-term problems with my vestibular system, so my doctor sent me for therapy at a balance institute. So I went to this place to retrain my brain's balance system, and while I was there, the therapist said to me, "We're just trying to rewire your brain." And in that moment, I realized this is just like the other therapy I go to. Like in regular therapy, I'm trying to get my brain to respond differently to unreliable, anxious thoughts, and in this therapy, I'm trying to get my brain to respond differently to unreliable inner ear information. Now, the exercises and medicines used to treat OCD are very different from those to treat labyrinthitis, but the underlying idea is similar: medication and therapy. And so, is it a mental or physical illness? Yes, it is. I find myself going back again and again to Elaine Scarry's observation in The Body in Pain. To have great pain is to have certainty, and to hear that another person has pain is to have doubt. I think that doubt compounds the suffering in The Body in Pain. To have great pain is to have certainty, and to hear that another person has pain is to have doubt. I think to Elaine Scarry's observation in The Body in Pain. To have great pain is to have certainty, and to hear that another person has pain is to have doubt. I think that doubt compounds the suffering of people in pain, and I think it is further compounded when we imagine that someone's illness or pain is less real because it involves the mind or because an observer can't see it. The truth is, the mind-body dichotomy is as insufficient as the category of sandwiches. Our minds are made out of body, and our bodies think. In fact, on Earth at least, bodies are the only things that think. Whether we call it mental or physical, other people's pain is as real as our own. Hank, I'll see you on Friday.
That's my guy. He did it again. Let me save that. Curing disease, one video at a says, I will be watching more. He got some pretty good breakdowns of different ways of looking at stuff. Oh, Zanita 67, what's happening? Yes, a hot dog is a sandwich. It is something between two pieces of bread. Exactly. You can't refute that. They didn't say it had to be vertically or horizontally put between it. It just said between. So we solved that pretty quickly. Let's see. Disease and their cures. Let's find out. Hold on. I don't want to watch a video we ain't supposed to watch or can't watch. Alright then, let's see what y'all got.
There's not a cure. There's not a disease that can't be cured.
Okay.
In today's time. Now, like my grandfather always said, we have the tools to help you get cured, but if you don't have the faith and if you don't believe that the herbs is going to heal you, then it's not going to heal you.
Oh, wow.
It starts with faith. With you, we have the tools to give you the minerals to heal you, but if you don't take minerals and if you don't have faith, then it's not going to heal you. But the herbs are healing the nation, and we save lives every day. So, to my Atlanta family that's listening, if you have any STDs, diabetes, high blood pressure. I heard
they've been coming in with the herpes cases.
Yes, herpes right now is at its all-time high.
Miss Kelly, don't look at me like that.
Let's
I
get
don't
healthy,
want it. I need people to get healed,
for the culture.
That you can be healed for the culture, because I don't want to run into it.
No, you don't. And right now, when we was coming up, Shanika, we had the Wrap It Up campaigns.
Right.
Condoms was accessible in high schools. They don't have that anymore. These kids glorify sex and think it's okay. And I have 17-year-old kids with herpes or 19-year-old young boys with HIV and caught it from 26-year-old men. So it's really serious. We really have to protect ourselves.
Right.
And wrap it up. It's about having safe sex. I'm not saying don't have it, but wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
And if you in Atlanta and you want to pick up any products, hit up Ask Sabi's Daughters. Hit up at Dietary Solutions, at Avery Mitchell, and let's get Atlanta healthy.
Let's get them healthy. I'm going to remind y'all, and all of this content will be on digital, so you can follow us at hotspotatl.com, or you can go to our digital at hot1079atl. Miss Kelly, anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
I just want to say, people, keep loving yourselves. Encourage each other. Stay positive. Move in a direction that keeps you and everybody else healthy, and keep educating about your diet.
That's my girl. Hey. That's funny. I think I want to look at this.
The ancient Egyptians understood that they could use sound to reduce their weight and the gravity.
This video is brought to you by the Tao Te Ching, the virtual way. Find out more at the end of the video. There are 3 kinds of sickness in the world, and they all run rampant. These are physical diseases like cancer, arthritis, diabetes, and so on. Mental diseases like depression, anxiety, anger, lack of confidence, and so forth. And spiritual diseases such as dogmatism, indifference, living a purposeless life, and being ignorant of one's own divinity. All of these forms of illness are major issues in the world today. But that doesn't have to be how the story ends. Recently, we came across a book called Scientific Healing Affirmations by Paramahansa Yogananda, and we were amazed by what we found. A sound explanation of the root cause of disease and how to heal any illness. Today, we'll be sharing the essential teachings that Yogananda put forth, and may it guide us in our collective healing. We must begin by understanding the importance of addressing all 3 kinds of disease. Each form of disease causes bodily, mental, or spiritual suffering in a person. And to counter the disease, the appropriate remedy must be applied. In the world today, most of the focus of health is on physical illness, although since the COVID pandemic, the subject of mental illness has also risen to prominence as a great issue within the collective conversation. humanity is beginning to realize what effect our mental troubles have on us. Fear, despair, bereavement, worry, violent anger, and lack of self-control are all overpowering, and spiritual suffering through not being connected with one's own soul is even greater still. To understand diseases better, we should think of reality as actually inside out from what we typically think. The material is informed by the invisible, and physical disease thus has its origin in mental and spiritual inharmony. Lack of awareness about the laws of mental hygiene and the art of spiritual living are responsible for all human bodily and material suffering. If the mind is free from the mental bacteria of anger, fear, or failure consciousness, then no material disease or lack can follow. Who wants sickness in body, mind, or soul? And who needs medicine, mental or spiritual healing, if they are well?
Right.
It is through our ignorance, our lack of knowing, that we break the laws of harmony by which the body was created and fall into disharmony and disease. It is usually only then that we typically seek methods of cure. And so we must know that the difference between matter, thought, and spirit consist in the rate of vibration and is a difference of degree, not of kind. This is illustrated by the fact that all vibrations are qualitatively alike. The vibration of consciousness, however, is so subtle and so powerful that it cannot be detected by any material instrument we have created in our scientific field so far. For this reason, and at least for now, only consciousness can comprehend consciousness. Conscious human beings can detect the conscious vibrations of other humans, as people and the whole of nature is constantly impressing its vibratory force on its environment, which is felt through emotion, intuition, and thought. You might think of reality then as consciousness being a finer force existing within a coating of a denser vibratory force called matter. It may also be said that consciousness is the first vibration of spirit, and that matter in turn is the result of the denser and heavier vibration of consciousness. While it's useful to draw it like this, one layer after the other, it may be more valuable to see them entirely on top of each other. This is a nearly identical drawing of the Kabbalistic tree of life, which describes all of creation emanating from a supreme oneness and into the dense material reality by the gaining of density. Understanding this, we can see why healing truly begins with mental and spiritual healing in order to truly cure a physical disease. Now, some watching this may disapprove of this idea, because how could healing fear or ignorance result in someone's cancer going away? Disease is generally thought of as a result of external material causes, but disease actually arises through the inaction of the life force within. When the life force is affected in the cells and tissues within the body, the life force withdraws from that place, and trouble consequently starts. Every method of healing today, from medicine to massage, all help stimulate the cell in such a way as to support the inactive life force into returning to that part of the body and resume its former work of repair and keeping the energy vital. It is not wise for any of us to become extremists, however. We should adopt whatever methods of healing that are suitable according to our own individual conviction. This does not discredit the essential material laws of reality. Whether it's medicine, food, or poison, they all have a definite chemical effect on one's body. These things are all useful, especially when dealing in the material conscious reality, but they are not without their limitations because they are all applied from the outside. It should be understood that these resources cannot cure a disease outright, but they can coax the life force energy to return to that part of the body, which is a part of the healing process. But if the physical is treated and the mental and spiritual are left unresolved, then the disease will either return as it was or transform and manifest in a new form of suffering. Sometimes in the physical healing process, new mental or spiritual patterns emerge, which help the disease go away, or at least be reduced in its next manifestation. It is for this reason that the best method of healing is from within. By going within and connecting with the light of one's soul, the life force energy returns to every part of your being. In massage, osteopathic treatment, chiropractic, Reiki, or yoga, no introduction of a foreign element like a pill or a shot is involved. And by these methods, we can remove or relieve the congestion in the nerves or vertebrae and allow the free flow of life energy. Sometimes in the spiritual-minded communities today, there is a dismissal of mainstream medicine in exchange for alternative approaches to healing. But there is a place for medicine in society. It may be very useful depending on what's happening, and a supportive aid in one's journey through health. Consider, if the arm has been fractured, isn't it foolish to give God, the supreme oneness, the trouble of joining your displaced bones, when a doctor, who is also a child of God, can fix it by a little use of his skill and knowledge of the laws of creation as applied to matter? Now, of course, if you are such a master of pure beingness that you can instantaneously heal your broken bones by your mental power, that's perfectly admissible, but don't wait to take that action. With all of that said, there is a very critical aspect of healing which Yogananda explained that must be taken seriously, and that is the power of one's word, through which we create our realities, for sickness or health. As it is described, words are sounds occasioned by the vibrations of thoughts, which are vibrations sent forth either by the ego or by the soul. Every word that leaves your mouth ought to be potent with your genuine soul vibration. Alas, for most people, their words are lifeless because they are spoken forth without being impregnated by soul force. Too much talking, exaggeration, or lies used in connection with words is just like shooting actual bullets out of a toy gun without the gunpowder. This is why the prayers or words of such people do not produce any definite changes in their lives. Every word you utter, you must mean it, and every word you put forth must represent not only truth, but some of your realized soul force. Words without soul force are husks without the corn. On the other hand, words saturated with sincerity, conviction, faith, and intuition are just like highly explosive vibration bombs, which when let out are sure to explode the rocks of difficulties and create the changes desired. And so, avoid speaking unpleasant words, even if they are true. Words must be intoned according to the convictions within. And sincere words or affirmations repeated understandingly, feelingly, and willingly are sure to move the omnipresent cosmic vibratory force and render you aid in your difficulty. It's important too that much like planting a seed, once your words are spoken, nurture them, but do not dwell on them. You cannot plant a seed of vibratory prayer in the field of cosmic consciousness and then pick it out every minute to see if it's germinated. That will negate the effects of your words. And so you see, we must be careful with our words, for it is the bridge between the higher worlds and the physical. We exist in both worlds. Let us not be extremists who either hold exclusively to medicine or to energy healing, lest we draw a line of division between spirit and matter. The breaking free of the illusion of matter is a very careful process of raising one's consciousness to higher levels of inner lightness and cannot be done by fanatical belief. The body can be understood as a vibration materialized by a combination of solids, liquids, and gases. Beneath the flesh is the vibration of life force energy, and beneath that is the vibration of subtle human consciousness, which in the vast majority of everyone remains isolated through ignorance of the cosmic consciousness. Within cosmic consciousness, there is no change or death, whereas human consciousness is subject to change and limitation. The spiritual path is one of gradually turning our attention away from the denser attachments to material reality and feeling the subtler, more stable vibrations of life energy and consciousness, which never changes. In this way, mental and spiritual cure is superior in the curing of disease because will, imagination, and faith are different phases of consciousness which direct and act from within. And these are the motive powers that stimulate and direct the life force energy to accomplish any task. There's a good example of this in the film The Secret, when a woman named Kathy Goodman got cancer. After the diagnosis, she decided to spend all of her time focused on her healing through laughter and rest. In her heart and her faith, she believed fully that she was already healed and prayed to God every day saying, "Thank you for my healing." After 3 months, the tumor was gone. We can see therefore that both physical, mental, and spiritual methods of cure are useful in healing, inasmuch as they can influence and awaken the life energy and bring it back to the body. It is the life energy that cures, and whatever method which exerts the most power over the life energy is the superior method. Naturally, if the highest thing in creation is what we might call supreme oneness, cosmic consciousness, or God, then the power of cosmic consciousness is the greatest power over the mind and body. Thus, it is wise to seek its aid alone.
Right.
This is what is meant by the biblical commandment, "Thou shalt not have any gods before me," meaning to seek the oneness of God consciousness first and listen to its guidance and follow it in your healing. This does not mean to make yourself passive or minimize the power of your mind or your body, but use the power of the mind and body to create connection with your divinity so that its light may shine through the mind and be reflected within the body. Today, almost all of us are in some level of suffering, extreme or mild, due to the breaking of spiritual, mental, or physical laws of life. And many more will continue to break these laws, even though they know better. Therefore, it is important and necessary to consider the relative value of the different methods of curing diseases and spread this awareness far and wide. Inner knowledge of the inseparable unity of matter and spirit will solve all problems of illness and disease. And the sooner we come to understand that, the sooner the world will be healthy.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Patchman.
When we go within to reconcile the roots of our illness, we often find a complicated maze of thought. For example, in the disconnection from our soul, we may try and fill that void with earthly pleasures, yet in doing so, we may become addicted without ever finding satisfaction. It's only when we hit bottom, most often, that we decide to climb out. Yet in the climbing out, how do we know that we're going the right way? Many will spend years attempting to climb out of the hole, only to realize at the end of their journey that they were traveling in the wrong direction. It's for this purpose we've created a new resource to support you in finding your way, Tao Te Ching, The Virtual Way. The Tao is a classic work of literary art imparting ancient wisdom which humanity has treasured for thousands of years. Many have studied these writings and utilized its teachings on their path to self-realization and transcendence. By drawing upon its words, we can gain a deeper understanding of the world that we live in and the nature of the reality that we are a part of. This book invites a fresh understanding of these ancient teachings, drawing upon modern quantum science, holy scriptures, and even virtual reality to explain the Taoist wisdom of Lao Tzu in an entirely new way. By uniting spiritual precepts and scientific revelations, we may come to know the Tao more fully and live our lives virtuously. Use the link in the description to order your copy today. As a limited time offer, you may upgrade your order to access our ongoing Virtual Way study group in the Spiritverse community. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks,
May you find your
Patchman.
innermost way and never be lost again.
Patchman with the assist. Let me see something real quick. I want to go back to this one.
Network medicine has really developed in the last 15 years the tools to look at the network within the cell, to map out the interactions, and to use that map to really design new type of cures, new type of drugs, and new type of diagnostics. With the arrival of the Human Genome Project, we started to discover disease genes. Typically, these genes have mutations that, as a result, the protein that the gene generates cannot do what it normally does. Hence, an interaction will be missing in the subcellular network. And when it's unable to bind, it is like a screw not going into the hole where it needs to go, and hence the machine is not able to work. How do you cure a problem like that? And traditionally, what we do today is that we just add you lots of other screws. The problem we have in a network environment that every time I intervene, I also affect other processes that I may not want to affect. And those are typically manifesting as side effects of drugs or treatments. One of the distinguishing features of complex systems is that they seem to be robust to lots of different kinds of failures. As I'm talking to you, there are millions of errors within my cells that I don't even notice. Somehow, molecules don't arrive at the right time, a protein is not being produced when it should be produced, and yet I don't notice it. I can carry on this conversation. So the question is, how can the cell carry on its functions where there are millions of errors within that? That is fundamentally a robustness question that we started to ask around 2000. And what we realized is that if you just randomly pick a large number of nodes in a scale-free network and you remove them, the rest of the networks will be able to communicate with each other. You can remove 95% of the nodes randomly, and the remaining 5% will still be able to talk to each other. But there's a price for it. Because scale-free networks rely so much on the hubs to maintain their connectivity, if you remove only a few of the major hubs, the network will break into tiny pieces. This is what we call the Achilles heel of networks, that they are very robust to random failures, but at the same time, they're very fragile to attacks. So if we understand well the structure of the network within our cell, not only we can understand the source of its robustness, but you can use it for therapeutic advantages. In reality, we would like to do minimal interventions, right? So the more I know about the network, the more precise I can be that my intervention is only curing the problem and not causing other ones. That's what really the next level of personalized medicine will come from, where I can look at not only at your genome, but I can also map out the interactions within the cell, between the molecules, and then look at the lack of interaction and say, that lack of interaction is the source of the potential disease that you may get, and how I'm going to use an intervention to bypass that lack of interaction, and how could I cure that disease. We have to reform the way we think about medicine. Currently, if you have a disease, you go to a separate hospital depending on what tissue and what organ you have the disease. You go to neurologists to treat brain disease, you go to cardiologists to treat heart disease. But in each of your cells, you have the same genome and you have the same underlying network. And really, a mutation that is in your heart is not only in your heart, is it in your brain, and it's in your toe as well. And in that sense, sooner or later, the cardiologist and the neurologist will have to be replaced by a networkologist. What I'm hoping is that 10 or 20 years from now, my doctor will show me a network diagram in which he or she will show where I have my mutations, how they will affect the rest of my cell, and where and how will intervene to stop the impact of those mutations. If we succeed in this path, we may arrive to the point that we have a cure to most diseases.
Wow. I just saw something pop up on the screen. I want to see something. Let's see what this is real quick. What is that? Let me just look it up. That's funny. Can thoughts cure this? Sadagu, I know I saw you on there. Let me see. Oh, that's 20 minutes. We'll watch that one.
To be so for real, last year was kind of a lot for me. I was just feeling kind of like burned out.
There are two kinds. One is infectious. This is an invasion from another organism. You're somebody's food or somebody's habitat. So that's a different matter that they need to be bombed out. But I feel only 25 to 30% of the world's ailments today are infectious in nature, rest is all chronic. That means people are on self-help. They're busy producing their own variety of disease. I think every year people are coming out with various variations of disease so that doctors will be baffled every day. So how does one manifest this? We must understand, every cell in human body is programmed for life and health. At the same time, the same individual cell is also programmed from death. When it's time, it will start dismantling the system in a certain way. So programming for life, well-being, health is also there, programming for death is also there. If you in any way create a wrong message, if your messaging is wrong, then some cells start working for your death. That's all disease is in a certain way. They're working towards dismantling of life because somehow they got that message. You're not sending out a clear message that I want to live healthy, I want to live well. That message is not there. Today if you're angry with somebody, when you're angry or resentful with somebody, you're not doing much to them, you're poisoning yourself. There is substantial medical evidence today to show you're literally chemically poisoning yourself. So when you yourself poison yourself, what is the message that the cellular structure in the body is supposed to get? The message goes across, and even if 2% of them believe that you want to die because you're drinking poison, then they'll start working for that. Now, conflicting different types of activities happening, one set of cells working for your well-being, another set working against you, manifests itself in many different ways. This is a simplistic way I'm putting it, but in a way this is what is happening. Wrong messaging is happening every day. Resentment, anger, fear, anxiety, these are all poisons that you drink, but you expect somebody else to die. Life does not work like that. If you drink, you die. So, because we do everything in installments today, we do death also in installments, that's called disease.
Say we do death in installments. That's called disease. My man, hey, Sadhguru gonna tell you what it is and what it ain't, doc. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, that's my guy. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's put in mental disease. This is a 49-second video. I think we got enough time for 50 seconds.
Oftentimes people think that if I'm suffering from a mental illness, then there's no hope for me. And this is just the way it is, and I need to stay stuck on my medications. But the newest and best neuroscience research actually shows that there is great hope. The brain can change, which means that you can change. 5 main components that help to trigger neuroplasticity, and those are newness, challenge, exercise, a healthy diet, and love. In fact, even in old age, we're constantly making new nerve cells in the brain, and that tells me that we have the potential to change and to heal from whatever we're going through.
That's a good 50 seconds of your life in the right direction. All right.
Big ideas.
Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about mental illnesses and whether they are curable or not. But before we jump into that, are you new to my channel? Welcome! I am a licensed therapist making mental health videos, and I release them on Mondays and on Thursdays. So make sure you have your notifications turned on so that you don't miss out. But now let's hop into today's topic. Many people with mental health issues of any kind want to know if their struggle is curable. And for good reason. If we feel terrible week after week, we're going to want to know that there is an end to what we feel and that it won't come back, ever. Now, in order to answer this question, I first have to describe to you the difference between mental health and mental illness, because it's in that differentiation that we will find the answer to our question. Now, mental health is something that we all have, just like we all have a physical health, right? We can have days where we feel on top of the world, you know, checking so many things off of our to-do list, meeting with friends, feeling fulfilled, and just really good. And overall, just know that mental health is defined, because I always like to define terms first, right? Mental health is defined as a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. If we are taking care of ourselves best we can, you know, we're taking breaks when we need them, making time for the things that we enjoy, etc., we should have a pretty good mental health. We should feel pretty good, be able to manage all we need to each and every day, and overall feel happy. Mental illness, on the other hand, is like when we catch a cold. You know, first you can start to feel a little extra tired. Then maybe our nose starts to run. And then maybe we get a cough. And before you know it, you're laid up in bed wishing you'd taken advantage of all the time you had when you were well. Right. That's not just me, right? I'm constantly feeling like that, where when I finally am sick and I just have to lay on the couch, I'm like, man, I should have got so much done when I was feeling good. Maybe it's just me though. Well, anyways, you have caught an illness. It has taken over your body and you aren't able to do all that you need to do. You have to rest. You have to take your medicine. And you have to take care of yourself until you feel better, right? Mental illness is just the same. I mean, no, you aren't going to catch it for someone else. Don't get any ideas. But it does creep in slowly. Make us feel a little different than we normally do. And finally, make it impossible for us to do all that we need to each and every day. A mental illness impairs our ability to function in our daily life. But with proper treatment, we can manage the symptoms so that we can go back to living our life. And again, just like a cold, if we don't take care of ourselves, you know, when you aren't sleeping enough, you're working too much, you're more susceptible to catching a cold. And the same goes for our mental health. If we don't take care of ourselves, do the things that we need to do in order for us to feel good, our mental health can become a mental illness. Does that make sense? If not, in short, mental illnesses aren't curable, but we can take steps to keep our mental health in check so that the bad way we feel doesn't come back, or at least won't stay as long as it did last time. Just like if we're physically sick and we take some days off, we sleep a lot, we drink water, and give our body time to heal, we won't stay sick as long as we would if we kept pushing our body to do more and more. And if you want to know more about this difference and how you can care for your mental health, pick up my book. It's called Are You Okay? A Guide to Caring for Your Mental Health, and it's available now through the link in the description. I talk all about this. Now, the last thing that I want to do is I want to address neuroplasticity. Now, if you don't know, neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to form and reorganize synaptic connections, especially in response to learning or experience or following an injury, which really just means that yes, you can teach an old dog new tricks. And yes, our brains can heal and change. And it's really the whole reason that therapy works. And I wanted to end by talking about neuroplasticity because it can offer some hope when we can feel like it's never going to get better. Research on many different mental illnesses, from borderline personality disorder to depression, show that if we take care of our mental health, like we're taking medication if it's part of our treatment plan, and we're working to use all the tools that we're learning in therapy, our brain can rearrange the connections so that we no longer have the mental illness we had before. Like it slowly moves things over to accommodate all the new behaviors and communication skills you're trying out. Sure, it's hard at first because it's new, it's not comfortable, but it does get easier. And if you've been watching me for a long time, you may remember how I talked about the brain as if it was a balloon filled with sand. And when our brain sends a signal to have us react or act in a certain way, it rolls a marble over that sand and makes a little divot or a rut, right? And if we keep doing that same thing over and over, that divot's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. But if we decide that we want to do something new, that marble is going to have to work extra hard to get itself out of that rut that it's created into a more new and healthy path. Does that make sense? And so if it keeps doing that new and healthy thing, then that new divot's going to get deeper and deeper. And that old rut that we used to have will get more and more shallow. Remember, our brain is moving things around so that it can assist us with what we need. And as a result, all that healthier stuff is going to get easier and easier to do, and the bad, unhealthy, hard stuff, it's going to be easy to stay out of it. So overall, what I'm really saying is just stick with it, even when it's hard, because trust me, it can and will get better. I hope you found that helpful, and most importantly, hopeful. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye.
See you later, baby. You already know. Mental illness causes nah. Hold on. What did I ask them? Curing mental disease. Okay. I want to put this in there. Look. Check this out. How to feel better. I ain't typing not a near thing in this thing. Must be a button pushed on my keyboard. Alright, there we go. How to feel better. Just how to feel better, not.
Hey, you want to see a magic trick? I'm gonna make something amazing pop out of thin air. Yeah, it's a mirror. Because you're the one that's amazing. And you need to remember that.
My man.
And I want to kiss your face.
Hey, bro, we out of here now. You tripping. Let me see what they got for us for free to watch. They got Psych to Go. Y'all don't worry about it. Just listen.
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor.
Fresh, never.
What happens in the first 7 to 10 days after you quit drinking? Hi there, I'm James Swanwick from the Alcohol Freedom Formula. There's some free resources for you down below. Click on those to get started so you can quit drinking. So, some of the 20,000 people who I've helped quit drinking tell me that in the first 7 to 10 days, their sleep is a little bit disrupted. They're a little bit more irritable than usual. Their skin starts to feel just a little bit funny, like flaky, dry, etc. These are all perfectly normal. When you first quit drinking, your body is going through a shock of sorts. It's been so used to you feeding it toxins and poison for many years that when you now deprive it of that very toxin and that very poison, then your body is reacting to that. It's basically craving the poison and craving the toxin, okay? So it's perfectly normal in the first 7 to 10 days to feel just a little bit irritable, but stay the course, because on the other side of that is clarity, focus, energy, amazing sleep, wonderful relationships, improved energy. Now, people often say, well, why would I even put myself through that? Why do I even want to go 7 to 10 days of not drinking and disrupt my sleep and be a little bit more irritable and have funny skin and like, well, why would I do that? Well, kind of look at it this way. It's short-term pain for long-term gain. And is it really more pain than what you've been causing yourself over the years anyway, which is fogginess, lack of motivation, putting on weight, feeling lethargic, being irritable, low energy, fighting with your husband or wife, not being a great role model for your kids, not building your business, not getting a promotion at work, not producing. That kind of pain's been with you for many, many years, and it will continue to be with you for many, many years if you continue to drink. So if you can put up with 7 to 10 days of minor inconvenience, of feeling just a little bit funny as the toxins and the alcohol and the poison of alcohol leaves your body, then it's amazing on the other side, beautiful on the other side. Tens of thousands of people now have used my formula for quitting drinking and keep saying all the time, I've lost weight, I saved my marriage, I created that business, I took that trip, I saved so much money, oh my goodness, I'm making so much money now that I have the clarity and the focus and the energy. There are people, famous people throughout history who have chosen to go on alcohol-free. Abraham Lincoln, the movie star Bradley Cooper, President Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, he gets a lot of things done in his life, good or bad. Hasn't had a touch of alcohol in his entire life. His brother actually died of alcoholism, and that was enough for him never to touch a drink. Jennifer Lopez, the singer, actress, doesn't drink. Tyra Banks. All of these people have chosen to go alcohol-free, and as a result of that, their life has exploded. So if you can put up with those first 7 to 10 days, and by the way, it may only be 2 or 3 days. It may even be nothing. You may not even feel any disruption. You might just feel beautiful the very next day that you wake up. But if you can put up with those 7 to 10 days of a little irritability, not sleeping great, tossing and turning, getting used to the fact that you're no longer putting alcohol in your system, then the other side is everything that you want. Go from a 6 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. Go from like feeling okay to feeling amazing. And even if you don't believe you're going to feel amazing, at the very least feel the way that nature always intended you to feel. Because nature did not intend you to drink alcohol. Nature didn't intend you to drink poison. Nature didn't intend you to pour these toxins down your body every single day. Nature intended you to feel the way that you're supposed to feel. So if you want a glimpse of that, put up with the 7 to 10 days of irritability and poor sleep, because on the other side it's amazing. There's some resources down below to help you get started. Click on those. I will show you my alcohol freedom formula. Join me. I haven't drunk since 2010. I'm telling you, it's beautiful on this side. Please like this video, comment down below. Let me know what results you got when you quit drinking. Let me know how you felt before when you've quit drinking. Let me know what your biggest fear is around drinking. I'd love to hear from you. I reply to every comment. I'll see you on the next one.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small businesses easily reach thousands of customers. It writes,
"Oh, I don't drink, so we not gonna talk about nobody who dealing with alcoholism," so.
Talk to me about your relationship with alcohol and how it's changed.
I just had to put that out there. Moving on. We get a little bit more of this in here. The question is how to feel better.
First question is from Forlevesi Claudio. When feeling tired, is it better to have a mediocre workout or rest and train the next day?
Yeah, so this depends on how tired you are and why you're tired. If you went,
I also think it depends on how often this happens to you too.
Of course,
because remember when we had a good interview with Dr. Andy Galpin, and we talked about this a little bit, and he made a really good case for there's value in kind of forcing yourself through a workout like this sometimes. Not all the time, not most of the time, sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who like
optimizing versus adapting.
That's right.
That's it.
Right. And so there is times where it's like, hey, you want to be able to get up and do these things when you're tired. Because if you always go easy or fold when you're tired or fatigued all the time, then when you need to get you're not going to be able to perform.
Yeah. Now, another thing to consider is that movement, so long as the intensity and volume is adjusted, is usually good for you. Almost, not always, but almost no matter what. So if you feel sluggish or sore or tired, you probably don't want to go to the gym and beat yourself up. But what you might want to do is go to the gym and do some full range of motion movement at low intensity.
Adjust your intensity, yeah.
Yeah, some mobility stuff at low to moderate intensity, some stretching. And what you'll find is it actually helps rejuvenate the body. It actually helps improve circulation. So in those cases, sitting down and resting might be bad. Because here's another thing. These days, a lot of people feel sluggish and tired because they don't move.
That's right.
Not because they've been moving too much. I've seen this with my own kids, especially when they're doing school from home. I'll take them outside and force them to work out or go on a walk. First 10 minutes, they're complaining. After about 10 minutes, their energy starts to perk up, and they feel a lot better, even though they're complaining at the beginning and saying, I'm too tired to work out.
Yeah, well, your body responds to what you do the most, and that's what you're literally teaching your body what the priorities are every single day. And so to get up and to move at least, and like you said, like adjust your intensity and at least go through ranges of motion, I think is massively valuable because it just still sort of sends that signal that the body needs to move, it needs to function, it needs to express itself, and that's a healthy practice to maintain. But there are some days where you just had like an incredibly intense workout, or you're just bombarded with work, or you just haven't taken a day off at all. I think it's valuable too to just take it off.
Yeah, totally. But and there was that one study you brought up a couple episodes ago, Justin, where they showed that people working their grip improved their cognition. Just that flexing and squeezing of the hand got them to perform better with cognition. I noticed with the trigger sessions in MAPS Anabolic, when I was testing the program out, I noticed throughout the day the trigger sessions were better than a cup of coffee. They energized me. Even if I went into them like, oh man, I don't really want to do this. And then I'd do it, and then I'd come out of it and I'd feel invigorated. So movement is usually a good idea. You just have to modify the intensity and the volume.
That's good.
Now get 20% off at Chewy Pharmacy. Some things are even better together. At Chewy.
All right. Let me see. How does working out change your health? Let's see what's up.
Next question is from Lorraine Fighting Fit. Since listening to you guys, I'm trying to cut down on cardio. I always do resistance training anyway, but how much cardio is enough for healthy heart, lungs, etc.? I don't want my cardio to affect my resistance training, but I want to do enough to keep healthy.
All right, there's a lot to unpack with this particular question. So number one, cardiovascular activity done appropriately is good for you. It's good for your health. So I don't want to give away the message that it's a waste of time or whatever. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good for you. Now the question is about hearts and lungs and the benefits there. The truth is, studies actually show this. Resistance training is just as beneficial for the heart as cardiovascular activity. Where cardio is superior to resistance training is in building stamina and endurance. If you want stamina and endurance, more stamina and endurance than you'll get through resistance training, then you can add cardiovascular training. Now that being said, for most people, you'll get plenty of endurance and stamina through resistance training, especially if you cut your rest periods short and you do supersets. But if you're somebody that wants more athlete levels of stamina and endurance, then go ahead and do the cardio. What's too much? Well, this is very independent. This is very, very dependent on the individual. What's too much for one person is enough for another, just like resistance training. So for most people, if your goal is just overall health, I would say, 30 minutes a day of some kind of cardio is probably great. It's probably going to benefit your health.
Well, here's the thing. Training for health is one thing. Training for fat loss is another thing. And I think this is where this message gets mixed up with us, that people think that we're anti-cardio. Listen, if you are in a healthy weight and you're happy where you are, body fat percentage, you don't feel you need to lose any more body fat, do as much cardio as you want. I mean, if you can get up every day and you enjoy going for a run every morning, by all means, that's very healthy and it'd be great. What we speak to, because the number one thing that everybody wants to do is to lose body fat. It's a losing battle to go after it through cardio.
Right.
That is the message. So if you're at where you want to be and you've done it through resistance training and dieting and you got to the body type or size or body fat percentage that you want, do as much cardio as you like. I mean, if you enjoy doing it, do it every day.
So long as it's appropriate, right? You don't want to overtrain or overdo it.
Yeah. I mean, why would you though? If you're just doing it for health purposes, do how much you enjoy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're doing it for health purposes, and you like to go for a half-hour run or an hour run every day, then go for it.
Well, I like to just promote that there's other options out there, and I think that people will hear that, and so they'll just think to get on a treadmill and just walk or run and do the same repetitive thing over and over and over again. When it's actually going to be more beneficial for your body to move in a lot of different ways and to be more active overall. There's so many other joints in your body that need to be expressed and need to be moved, so that way we avoid pain and we avoid these arthritises and things that happen as a result of this repetitive stress. We just lock ourselves in these positions. So that's why, I just want to, promote a little bit different message around cardio that, there's other ways to get the same result, but you just have to be more active throughout.
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that. The best form of cardio for most people is walking. And here's why. It's not because walking is superior for stamina or endurance or anything like that. It's because walking is the one skill that most people still possess, right? Most people still walk, so you can go for a walk and you're not going to have absolutely terrible biomechanics and whatever. Most people, this is the truth now, most people in modern societies don't have the skill of running. Sorry. Now, we evolved to run. Humans actually evolved to be amazing runners, but that does not mean that you can run well. If you stop running at any point in your life, if you haven't run every day forever, like most people, you're in your 20s or 30s and you're like, the last time I ran consistently was when I was 10. Just lacing up your jogging shoes, going for a run, it's misleading. You think it's easy. Oh, you just go for a run. It's not a big deal. Running is very technical. It's a very technical movement. And if you haven't done it in a long time, you don't run properly, especially if you run to fatigue. Now you're going to go outside and run till you're tired. You're going to run terribly. And this is why, by the way, studies will show this, the number one form of exercise that causes chronic pain and injury is running.
Yeah,
it's exactly what Justin was saying.
Right.
That repetitive motion over and over again in which you don't do it well. So I'm so glad you brought that up. So walking is the best form of cardio for most people. And then if you want to do more intense forms, treat it like a skill. Don't treat it like a workout.
Right.
Eating in or dining out, both are rewarding.
I remember when we was throughout all of the military stuff I did, everybody always had a problem with their feet. Everybody had a problem with their feet because the footwear, we running, we not necessarily training on how to run. We just running, and we got all of this weight on us, on our back, on our bodies, wearing a uniform, so anybody who, I guess, is in the military, I ain't gonna be no specific branch. Just know that it's some chronic pain coming your way sometime in your feet at some point. And if you don't get it, then my man's, hey, more power to you. All right, let's rock. All right, hold on. Let me get there it goes, back up. I don't just want to see them. Oh, well, we can watch this last one.
Next question is from T. Cirque. How long should one stick to a workout routine?
Oh, that's good. You know what? It depends on the routine, right? If the routine includes phasing and changing of programming and considers that your body needs different stimulus, needs to move in different planes of motion, needs to focus on certain, correctional exercises.
Oh, that was in the video.
Programming and considers that your body needs different stimulus, needs to move in different planes of motion, needs to focus on certain, correctional exercises to prevent overuse injuries. Well, then the workout routine itself it's all baked in there. But most of the workout routines that I've seen probably start to lose their effect or cause overuse type injuries and pain at about the 3-month mark. It's usually what it looks like. If all the routines I'm familiar with and I've seen, you look at them and be like, yeah, after about 3 months, you're going to start to hit a wall, and then maybe it's a good time to.
I mean,
switch
I
up.
think I would not only agree, but I'd even say that like our MAPS anabolic or aesthetic programs are like that too. Even though we phase it, you could probably get away with doing it longer. There's some things that are missing that you would want in your routine. We've talked about this before. I think, or personally, I don't hear what you guys think, MAPS Performance is the single program that if someone came to me and say, Adam, I can only afford one of your programs,
and I want to just run it back.
I'm going to run it,
over?
Over and over for an entire year. Which one is the best? And honestly, it doesn't even matter what your goal is. It could be building muscle, burning body fat, just being healthy.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what your goal is. If you asked me if there was one single program that you were going to run over continuously in a year's time or 2 years, MAPS Performance, because of what you said, of like a lot of programs are limiting some things that eventually if you're not like MAPS anabolic, it's in the sagittal plane.
Totally.
And you're
no lateral movement, very little rotation.
Yes.
You're going to start to notice aches and pains in your joints. Great, muscle builder for a 3-month period.
Yeah.
MAPS Performance is you use all planes of motion. Mobility is very important. There's a strength component. There's a component of speed in there. There's, endurance.
Yeah.
It's the most balanced, I would say, and you could definitely run it indefinitely. In the short term, is it going to build as much muscle and strength as some of our other programs? No. In the long term, though, it'll win because exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's always the one too to throw in there to interrupt that because most programs are structured that way, very heavy in the sagittal plane and very much repeating the same type of stress like over and over and over again, right? And so to interrupt that, helps to kind of create that longevity within, you achieving where you want to get, but then like continuing that progress.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and of course, the best, combination is just to go through different programs, complete one, do another one.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, obviously, that's the way we wrote them with that intention is to cycle through all of them and get the benefits from it, and you'll get the most benefits. But if I had to, I can only give you
indefinitely
one.
one.
Indefinitely one program. Even and the irony of that, right? That's not even one of my least favorite of all of our programs, but I know it's one of the most beneficial.
Yeah.
That if I had to stick to one forever, that would be the smartest one.
The irony is that the one program that most viewers and listeners would probably get the most gains and results out of only because I know most of them are like drawn to bodybuilder style MAPS programs.
Yeah,
is going to be MAPS Performance. I'd say 8 out of 10 people watching this right now would do MAPS Performance, and at the end of it, be like, "Holy cow! This is totally what I needed." Yeah. So,
hey, if you enjoyed that clip, you can find the full episode here.
So, working out obviously is something that can relieve your stress. You get out there, you run, you maybe push up, you do some resistance with the curls or whatever it is you do. That's gonna make you feel better, and it's gonna get your body movement. Excuse me. It's gonna get your body moving, and we know that motion is something that's always happening within ourselves. So having that motion, that activity helps your cells. Each one of them. All right, y'all. So we coming up on what? The half hour, the 10:30 hour. I'm gonna get us something to ease our pain. Comedians talking about. Let's see what's up. Let's laugh a little bit. Hold on. Let's see what Tim Hawkins talking about. Hopefully nothing too wrong.
I took two things that I love, dancing and dogs, and I made them into a successful business.
But my testimonies are usually how I mess up, man. Remember, I was doing this show about 3 years ago, and it was this big deal. It was about this size, almost like 2,000 people. And I was doing this show, and I did pretty good. And after the show, they took me to this room with this table, had a pen on it. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do here? And they said, well, we're going to let some people in, and we want you to sign autographs. And I said, okay, I can do that. And they did. They opened the door, like 100 people line up at that table for my autograph. I'm like, oh, sweet. I felt pretty good about myself. The first lady in the line, she walks up to me, and she goes, would you put your favorite Bible verse under your name for me? Just your name, and then put your favorite Bible verse underneath. Could you do that? I'm like, okay. Sure. Well, my favorite Bible verse is Psalm 34, verse 8. It says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Happy are those who take refuge in him. That was my favorite verse. But that night, I forgot the verse. I just blanked on it. You know how sometimes you know, like, sir, when you dress today. You know what I'm talking about? It's like your brain isn't, it's just not working. So I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, it's Psalm something. I got to pick something. And I said, oh, I'll just have to make up a verse here. So I did. I picked Psalm 38, verse 7. Just picked it out of thin air. Psalm 38, 7. Okay, I did it. Like an idiot, I did them all that way. Tim Hawkins, Psalm 38, 7. Hope you enjoyed the show. So I'm driving home that night. I'm like, oh, Lord, I hope that was a good verse. Oh, Lord, could you change the scripture if it's not, just for one night? But he did not hear my prayer. So I get home and I look up Psalm 38, verse 7. And to my horror, it says, lo, I have a painful disease in my loins.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yuck it up. Thanks for the help. What are there, a billion verses in the Bible, and I chose that one?
Right.
And I signed it 100 times. And sent it out in my own little mission field. Go! Take the word! Don't forget my loin problem! Build schools and hospitals! Don't forget my loin disease! Because you know those people looked it up.
Right.
You know they did. They probably made a big deal out of it. Come on here, sit down, kid, sit down. We're gonna read this verse. Turn the TV off. Get over here. Here it is, Psalm 38, 7. Shh. It says life first. Shh. It says, lo, I have a painful disease. It says life first. Shh. It says, lo, I have a painful disease. I shook his hand. I shook his hand. I shook that pervert's hand. What was I doing? I knew I... See, look at you, some of you don't get that. Lo, I have a painful disease in my loin. Never gonna see that verse cross-stitched on a pillow.
Right. That was funny. All right, let's get another one.
I know this grimness. Although my buddy, I did want to say one thing about my buddy Richie, who has a disease, and but it's an interesting disease he has. He has the disease of alcoholism. And he came to me, you know, and he told me, and I like to look, I'm the kind of guy who likes to look at the bright side of things, you know. So I told him, I said, Richie, it's true that you have a disease and everything, but I think you got the best one. It's the only disease where you get to drink booze all the time. I haven't looked at every medical journal, but I believe it's the only disease where you can constantly drink booze. As a matter of fact, that is the disease. You know, and I don't think Richie would think if he had a disease. Like, I don't think Richie would go to my Uncle Bert, go, hey, I understand you got bowel cancer. Ah, man, I know how you feel. I gotta drink a lot of booze. Those diseases, they're tough, those diseases, huh, Uncle Bert? Hey, what's your symptoms, Uncle Bert? Well, my bowel, I got blood pouring out of it all the time. I got bowel blood pouring out, gushing out of my bowel, almost nonstop. And I got searing, clawing pains, ripping, tearing, you know, mind-screeching bowel pains. And they're combined with aching, dull, soul-deadening bowel pain. Those are basically my symptoms. How about you? I get happy. And, you know, I tend to be able to talk to people easier, I find. Sometimes I will meet a lady at a bar, got the same disease as I do, and I'll fuck her. But that's in the latter stages of the disease, Uncle Bert. You gotta realize that. You know what I mean, Uncle Bert? But no, but listen, man, I don't minimize what he does though, because he admits that he's an alcoholic and that he's weaker than a bottle, and that ain't easy to do. I couldn't do any of that shit. I'm too proud, you know what I mean? I got too much pride, you know, like they say in the scriptures, pride goeth before the fall, you know, and he can somehow, you know, it's a very beautiful thing he does. He goes to Alcoholics Anonymous and he says right in front of them, he says, you know, he goes in front of a whole room full of people and he says, I am an alcoholic, you know. Which I know does not sound that anonymous. I didn't name the group, but sounds like the exact opposite of anonymous. Whatever. Like, to me, the alcoholics that, you know, the anonymous alcoholics, to me, would be like you guys. I don't fucking know. I can't tell, you know? But once you tell a whole church basement full of people, your cover's pretty well blown, but anyways, it still requires a lot of... The only thing they seem to be anonymous about, from the way I can gather it, is they won't tell you their last names. Anything else goes, you know, but not the last name. No, no. Sometimes they'll say the first, like they'll go, I am Richie and I am an alcoholic, or the first initial. They'll say, my name is Richie K and I am an alcoholic. Then anything goes. They're like, one time I remember I was under the influence of the demon rum, and by God, I started punching my newborn in the face. I looked down at my fist, and it was all bloody with...
That one. Sorry. All right, we done laughing. Let's get back serious. typing in how to be at ease.
To be so for real, last year was kind of a lot for me. I was just feeling kind of like burned out and stuck.
You spoke about becoming a salt doll and plunging into the ocean. But what is that state like when you are a salt doll, but you're not yet plunged? What is, like, can you describe that state, what it is?
Can somebody run to the kitchen and get a spoonful of salt, put it in his mouth, he will know how it feels. Salt is good only if in a small quantity it mixes with something, only if it mixes. If you found this big ball of salt in your sambar, if it mixes, then only it's good. It's merged, if not with the samandar, at least with sambar. Only when it merges with something, it is good. If it sticks out, salt is bad, you know. So that's how life will feel. If you stick out, that's how it feels. Most people on this planet do not know a moment of absolute ease. Forget about blissfulness, forget about ecstasy, forget about anything else. They do not know what is ease. It's the most basic thing. A lot of other creatures know this. You see, a dog has eaten well, okay, totally at ease. Human beings do not know what is ease. Most people do not know what is ease. That's why they have so much disease. Yes. To simply be able to sit here, just to simply sit, no. It's going on all the time. So that's how life will be, because you're too full of salt. You know, these terms are used in so many different ways. When we say salt, it's the essence in a way. If you say salt of the earth, it means the essence of it you've taken. So when we say you are a salt doll, or if you become one, it is the essence. The essence of your personality right now is just your ideas, your emotions, your opinions, a bundle of prejudices that you carry. This is what the essence of your personality. And this may be hugely fired by the karmic influence. Memory, this is what makes you who you are. So this is your salt. The essence of your personality is just what you remember of yesterday or the previous moment. If you just wipe out your memory from all levels, not just from your mind, including your body, if you wipe out all memory, there will be no such thing as a person anywhere. If there is no person, there is just life. If there is just life, if you sit here just as a piece of life, you will throb as life. If you throb as life, you will instantly experience that life is happening in tandem with the whole existence, never separately, because it cannot exist separately, and never ever has it happened separately, always one with everything. It is only your personality which is happening separately. That is the salt. Your ideas, your opinions, your philosophies, your ideologies, when you complicate your ideas, it becomes an ideology. Your emotions, which are just another expression of the same thing, your prejudices, another expression of the same thing. Essentially, you are investing in your memory, or essentially, you invest in that which is dead. You are an undertaker. Your business is with the dead. All the time, your life is about what is over. Everything that you are is about what is already over. So because you're an undertaker, you will live in a certain jumpy condition.
How AI optimizes my adult week. Let's be real, adulting is hard. And it's not just the big stuff, it's the endless list of little.
Awakening isn't a state, it's a reality. It's the vibrant, vivid reality of being, of what we are right here. And it's the vibrant, vivid reality of all of our inmates. So our thoughts, our emotional states, all of our sensations, our impulses to act, all of these, unless we rest naturally, that is the essence of their being, we can't come to peace with ourselves. And you may be wondering, well, if I'm at peace with everything about myself, whether I've judged it to be positive or negative, then how am I going to know what right action is? Well, this is a question that comes up a lot among Western people because our culture is so based on seeing everything as opposites and or dualistic perception. Well, when we come into complete accord with ourselves as the reality of that which is non-dual, and we see all of our inmates as that, the equalness and evenness of that non-dual expanse, then we suddenly realize that this awareness and compassion are inseparable. So without awareness, compassion would not be, and without compassion, awareness would not be. Until we can have that complete compassion in, of, for, and through ourselves as awareness alone, inclusive of all our points of view, we can't have compassion for anything else. So, the warmth of compassion arises with that realization. And how do we know that? Only by being with ourselves, only by being with ourselves. That's it. And it doesn't mean being with ourselves in any special circumstance. Whatever perception we're having, it is awareness. It is our own awareness. Awareness as that perception, not awareness of the perception, awareness as the perception. No experiencer or experienced, no perceiver or perceived, no seer or no seen. So just that effortlessness that is the underlying reality of everything is the entirety of what freedom is. Freedom is no destination. It's just whatever perception is, we're entirely free as that perception. And we know whether we're free as all perceptions or not. If we get caught up in our perceptions and start elaborating them and making stories out of them, then we know that effortlessness of being isn't there. If that effortlessness of being is there, we know that. We know that no matter what we're thinking or our emotional states are or our sensations are. And with that incredible warmth of compassion that is inseparable from awareness, we know what to do and how to act. We have an inherent system of morality and ethics that is inherent to. It's innate as our awareness. It's not anything we need to learn or cultivate or develop or organize or shape into a series of good deeds or acts. It's naturally occurring, naturally present is the reality of our being. And we also know when that is present. We know that's present because we feel completely connected with everything about ourselves, and we feel connected with everyone else too. No one's a stranger. Because once we know the heartbeat of every single one of our own perceptions, then we know that about everybody. No matter where they are or what they're doing or how they're living or anything else. It really is seamless. It really is non-dual. It really is indivisible. It really is compassionate. and there's nothing else. There's nothing else. All these perceptions, no matter what they are conclusively known to have no independent origin. They're all the vast expanse of awareness and nothing else. And then rather than our body, speech, and mind being so absorbed in the idea of a personal identity and self-importance, our body, speech, and mind, they seem to be a lot bigger too. Rather than being so confined and centered on ourselves, this ease of aware compassion, compassionate awareness, compassionate emptiness, which is inclusive of everything, we realize that we've never been slapped down in a body. We've never been limited to the space of our bodily form in relation to our living of a human life, but rather our true body, mind, and speech are vast like infinite space. They include everything, all forms, all sounds, all speech, all of everything, all wisdom, all compassion. So these are simple indicators of the reality of our being, whether we feel that spaciousness, whether we've realized that spaciousness is our own nature. We can know that. We can know that in a very direct way. And we do know that when the effortlessness of awareness is the strong core of everything about our life. We absolutely know that. Awareness doesn't have an on and off switch. So once we're introduced to our own awareness, that's it. That is the foundation. That's the foundation of every perception. It never goes anywhere. Awareness doesn't travel. It doesn't travel. It doesn't go anywhere. So, it isn't as though because we have a certain perception, we don't have awareness. And then when we have other perceptions, we do. Awareness is as all perceptions, no matter what they are. So if we've been thinking something other than that about awareness, we need to rest naturally. Just rest naturally. Be completely at ease, effortlessly at ease, as the essence of every perception. And when we do so, we find that maybe some of these points of view that we thought we had to shape into being a certain something, like all the negative points of view, that they too are timelessly free. They too are timelessly free. I cannot overestimate the importance of this.
So today we talked about curing disease, and it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to actually practice it. We are not practicing. We're just talking. And we are just talking, well, really mainly listening to the different aspects and videos of people talking about curing disease. The thing that is special about disease is that it's universal. We've all experienced it at some point in some time. So with that being said, that is part 2 of our journey to help try to cure some disease. The laughing did okay too as well. I enjoyed that. I'm not sure if we're gonna have a part 3 next week, but stay tuned and you'll find out. All right, so I'm gonna play some motivation for the next 10 minutes, and then we're just gonna get up out of here for the day. This has been another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. I'm glad y'all joined me. This is DGTA TV. All right, I'm gonna get on up out of here, get y'all some motivation, get that main scene popping. Motivation for the day. My man said win the day. Look at Kevin.
Sun don't stop for nobody, man. That sun is gonna be up in the morning regardless of how I feel. The sun is gonna shine in the morning, and at nighttime the moon gonna be there. And you gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up and you done wasted a year doing what?
I want you to live the life you were meant to live. Not the life that was given to you. Because I made up in my mind, that's the life y'all gave me. I'm not taking that no more.
A lot of life is uncomfortable. A lot of this experience is not easy. It's not, I don't care who you are, it's not easy waking up first thing in the morning. You don't always want to get up out of bed. You're signing up to have some moments where it's really uncomfortable and painful.
What are we going to forgive right now, and what are we going to say, the buck stops here, no more, I'm not putting up with it, because I'm tired of playing grab with yourself. I'm going to cut the man.
Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, you're going to launch yourself out of bed like a rocket ship. You're going to move so fast, you're not going to be in that bed when that anxiety hits.
If I'm going to seek success, I've got to define what sacrifices are required in order to step into it.
And the gateway for all of us to blow up. You can't start where I am now, you got to start where I started.
I know it's painful every time you got to make a sacrifice, but I'm telling you, the pain of success is better than the pain of failure, and now is the time for you to make a decision on what pain you want.
I'm not content because I know where I came from and I don't ever want to go back. That means I don't want to go back to living like I once was.
The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft.
Decide that you're going to push yourself. There's greatness in you. And you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. And since I'm going to do this, I'm going to harness my will, and I'm not going to let anything stop me.
That's what I'm asking you to do. What fuels you? The reason why you're so lazy is not because you don't have the ability. You're so lazy because your dream's so small.
Failure is painful. Failure is painful. I know it's painful to wake up early in the morning when you really want to sleep. I know it's painful when you got to study when everybody else is outside playing.
In what world do we not work every day?
Working hard is the cost of entry of winning.
90% is work, but the last 10%, that's fight. Can we make that happen? Can we make that happen? Can we make that happen? I'm talking about beast mode.
Dude, you've been a repeat offender. It hadn't been paying you back. You've been regretting that choice every time you make it, and you keep frickin' making it. Cut, man. Evolve. Turn the page. No more.
I profoundly believe that you are one decision away from a different life. We make the mistake of believing that because our problems are big or because our dreams are so big, that somehow the solution to achieving those dreams or to solving those problems must be enormous too, when in truth it's the opposite.
Here's what people do. They're unhappy, you're not where you're at, so you put your time into dumb shit like 2K and Netflix and Fortnite because you're escaping your real life. Your time's not worth anything when you're unhappy. So put it into making yourself happy, which is the fucking work to get you to where you want.
Most of us have been conditioned not to take a risk. People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? And I always tell them it's really simple. One word, progress. Progress equals happiness. If you keep growing, you're gonna feel alive. And if you keep growing, you're gonna have more to give. And when you're growing and giving is when life is magnificent. It doesn't matter how many statues, Oscars they give you, or Emmys, or how much money you have in the bank. Everybody's focusing on the outside world, and hell, there's a lot of things in the outside world you'll never be able to control. You can influence, but you can't control it. This, your mind, your emotions, your body, you have 100% control over what you do with these things, and that's where the game is won. You win the inner game, then you win the outer game. But a lot of people spent their life trying to win the outer game, they won, and they're miserable.
I know you've been waiting for everything to line up perfectly, and you've been waiting for the right teachers, and you've been waiting for the right school, you've been waiting for the right time. No, you're not waiting for the perfect time, you're making it the perfect time. Now is the time for you to say, I'm ready. I'm ready to take the next step. What you gonna do now that you've heard all the information? I want you to take that now, and I want you to make that some fuel. Yeah. Now it's time for you to get fueled up.
Big ideas don't come easy.
I want you to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want you to get sick and tired of being average. I want you to get so mad. I need you to get fueled up. I need you to get fired up.
Like, I want you to understand, like, I don't know your story. I don't know the depths of what some of you have had to deal with. But I'm here to tell you, man, you can do hard things. And as long as there's breath in your lungs, there's hope in your heart too. And as long as you continue to understand that no feeling is final. Today life may suck for some of you. Today life may be amazing for some of you. But what I do know are there are mountains and there are valleys. And to realize I can only control what I can control. I can control how I treat people. I can control the things that I do with my energy and my time. And I'm going to continue to refuse to believe that I can't.
What's your book look like? What does your fucking book look like? Like your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was your book? What was the ending to your book? If the ending to my book can be so amazing because of all that was done, not the money, all that was accomplished, the first to do, the man that did this, he caused the merger between this. Because of his commitment and growth to this, the communities were then given this. All of the things that can be associated with you and your existence become a part of the chapters in your book. So my drive is about my book.